Have you ever had a bad dream and you wake up and you're married, right?
Yes.
And you see your wife and you're like, okay, that was a dream.
Right.
Right? I think for a long time, for 2 or 3 years, I thought I was living a fucked up dream. And I kept waiting to wake up. I kept waiting to wake up. Tim was the first person that forced me to talk, just to talk. And it's amazing when you just open your mouth and you start saying how you really feel about stuff. I mean, think about how many people really say how they feel.
Virtually nobody.
Exactly. And I think Tim was the first person I actually started to have like full transparent conversations with.
Right.
Where I was like, I don't like the person I was. He's like, what do you mean? I was like, I cheated a lot on my girlfriend. I lied a ton. I was consumed by money. I used to gamble. I never gambled. You know, I would say things just because it was the right thing to say. Not that I was maliciously a bad person.
Right.
I just never even thought about what my actions were. I was too busy moving. And Tim forced me to stop. And I still stop myself to this day.
And you stop yourself from what? Focusing on who you don't want to be and focus on who you do want to be? Or?
I press pause in life sometimes, and I think it helps. I recalibrate.
To try to get out of an obsessive thought?
Yes, or just to, you know, even to get out of funks, whatever maybe, you know, I'm a firm believer in that you have to find balance in life, right? So there are gonna be times where your journey is gonna be down here and it's gonna be tough. And the same when things get high. You know, you sign a new deal, or you have to be able to keep things in perspective. And I think sometimes when I stop, I force myself to assess, okay, what are the benefits? You know, where are the negatives? How can I turn this negative into a positive? All right, let me make sure that I don't get too high and I continue to keep my head down and work harder because I want to achieve more. If it's not for me, for the people that work for me or for my girlfriend or my mom deserves better. So I try to find that one thing because I'm very goal oriented that I need to work towards. And once I achieve that, it's another goal. And I don't want it to ever stop because that's what life should be. I can't live in the past. I have to be present. I think there are a lot of times that you would see me in moments where I wouldn't be there because I was too busy reaccounting what was instead of what's happening currently. Not even what's going to happen. Like I just wasn't even present. I was just there. Some other advice I think that I have to continue to be better. I know it's simple, but I still have faults, man. I still make mistakes. I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect in relationships. I've hurt people and I've been hurt. It's a challenge for me to really let somebody in to, you know, my own demons that I suffer from. It's a challenge for me in my relationship with my father. I love my dad wholeheartedly. Me writing the book hurt our relationship to a degree. I try to talk to him about it. It's a work in progress. It's amazing how some of the people that you love more than anything, you have a difficult time connecting to. But you feel the love, you recognize it. So I think there's still so many aspects of me where there's room for improvement and there's room for growth. And like, you know, people say, I can't believe you got yourself out. I'm like, I'm still getting myself out of it. And it's never going to stop. And that's a good thing because it could have stopped on June 19th. And if it had stopped on June 19, 2003, how sad would that have been? That I would even have been able to spend time reflecting on the shit that I was doing. So now it's like I have a second chance. And I'm not gonna say that I sometimes don't get carried away or get lost in what I'm doing. I am extremely ambitious, right? Just like you, right? So, you know, if that's work, look, my girlfriend needs to check me, my mom needs to check me. I have these people who are sounding boards in my life right now who are willing to say difficult things to me. And I ask, how many people do you have that you allow to be in your circle that can say painful things to you that you may not like to hear? And then once you hear them, are you willing to accept it? Right. I've been lucky enough to have people in my life like that, and I make sure I try to stay surrounded with those people.
That is wise. Yeah, your whole concept of having a board of people that really have your best interests at heart, and I think that's, my wife and I talk a lot about that notion of, okay, I'm hearing something I don't want to hear, this really hurts, and from a random person, this may even lead to like me shutting down, not wanting to hear it, but because I can ask the question, does this person love me, with yes, and answer it with yes, then you've got a shot to really lower your defenses and hear it and adopt it, and that's really, really important.
And it's rewarding, it's fulfilling. It's fulfilling to recognize that nobody is the perfect end product and that everybody has stuff to work on. But once you're able to say, wow, that is something I need to work on, and you feel yourself taking the steps necessary to be better at it.
What advice do you have for people that are going through like real anguish, like real pain, I guess either emotional or physical? And what makes me ask this is I'm so curious to know what your internal talk was like during the early days of physical therapy when it was just grueling.
I think the first thing is to, and I do this when I do talks, and it's amazing to see how squirmish and uncomfortable people get. You hear that? That's the only person you're dealing with is you when you're quiet. It's fascinating. It's fascinating to look inside yourself or to spend time with yourself. And whenever I do a talk or when I talk to people who I think are going through a lot of pain, I first tell them, okay, I understand what you're going through, but you just need to stop for 1 second. Because what we have a tendency to do is we over-inundate ourselves with other things that really don't matter to keep ourselves busy, to keep not thinking about the things that do matter. So once you're finally able to stop yourself and you're present with yourself, you have to go back and you have to address it. I'm not saying that you're gonna find a conclusion right then and there, but you have to recognize that whatever happened did happen. And I try to push people to find silver linings. I think there's truly a silver lining in everything. And once again, it's what you choose to focus your energy on. If you choose to focus your energy on all the things that God took away from you, or whatever entity that is that you believe in took away from you, then you will be consumed with that energy. If you try to force yourself to be consumed with the silver lining, even if you revert back, you have to remind yourself of the silver lining because it gives you a target goal. Like, it's mental targeting. Are you able to focus on something that allows you to get out of your own way? If you don't have a goal to help you get out of your own way, you will be stuck. So what is that? Is that your wife? Is that your parents? Whatever you need to use to be better for, you have to do that. And you have to find that it's only gonna come from listening to yourself and spending time with yourself. You are the only person that could change it. At the end of the day, people can wanna help you as much as they wanna help you. And I don't think complaining is the answer either. I think vulnerability and talking to people about what's actually going on in your life gets them invested in you. And the more you listen to them, gets them invested. You invested back in them, and that's when a bond is formed. But that person can only take you so far. You have to want to take yourself to a different place. And if you don't have that, then you're gonna stay stuck. And a lot of people choose to stay stuck. And we see it every single day.
So that always scares me. He's self-aware enough to know that he is the problem and the solution. Do you have like a piece of advice that you get? Or did you tell him anything? Like, what do you say?
I didn't really know what to say at that given moment. And it's scary. I mean, a lot of people, they may not properly articulate that, but they live their lives that way. I mean, I think the more you're willing to confront it, the more you're willing to talk about it. I think talking helps, man. I know this sounds cheesy.
Not at all.
But I talk to myself, okay? People have seen me and think I'm a little bit crazy. But, I remind myself of what happened. I wake up in the morning and I always make sure that I look at my leg. I can't pick up my big toe, right? So I have to crack my toe. My toe always cracks and it hurts in the morning when I crack it because it gets stiff. And all right, my accident happened like June 19th, 2003.
Right.
It happened. It sucked. It was painful, but it happened. It's a part of my blueprint. It doesn't define me, but it's a part of my story. But a lot of people allow that one moment to define the rest of the story. You can't allow that to happen. And you have to be vulnerable enough with yourself to accept the fact that shit happened. Bad stuff happens to everybody. You have to drive your own car, and if you don't drive it, somebody else is gonna drive it for you. And that other person who's driving it may not be a person, it may be a darkness, that entity that we talked about, that is easy to get lost and consumed in.
Have you ever thought about waking up, looking at your leg, cracking your painful big toe and saying, the accident happened, thank God. and I am a fundamentally different human being, and I'm going to impact the lives of countless people because I have a mind that is capable of suffering at a level other people are not, and because I went through the darkest of periods and clawed my way out. Not that it was easy, that I clawed my way out, and I know how to help people now in a way that I never could have understood if I didn't go through it.
I did say thank you probably when I was 30 years old, 5 years ago. I said, thank you for happening to me. I'm still clawing now. I don't think you ever claw your way out. I think it's a process. It's easy to go back into that. That's why I talk about, reaffirming what happened and reaffirming where you want to go to yourself. We spend so much time talking to other people and giving other people advice on what they need to do in their life. And sometimes you need to sit down and give yourself advice on what's best for you. When you're uncomfortable, that's the only way you're going to grow.